Let's get into a team that was not explosive for much of the day yesterday, and those are the Jets. That's your backyard. And Oof is right, but let's start here. It was Broncos, London. Everybody's talking about the drive before halftime, right? They let the clock run out when they could have run a play. Garrett Wilson said he didn't know the plan. Boomer, what was the plan?
So I think the plan was to keep the game close and go in at halftime thinking that they had the ball coming out in the second half and they didn't want to risk a turnover and giving any points up. You know, this is what happens when you have a defensive head coach. They think defensive minded as opposed to having an offensive coach. Like if that were Kellen Moore on the sideline or Sean Payton on the sideline, they're going to come up with plays. They're going to throw the ball down the field. And there's nothing worse than a frustrated wide receiver because they will make their feelings known. And Garrett Wilson did that with Aaron Glenn. And the thing that scares me about all of this is that Garrett basically said after the game, I don't know what we're doing. I mean, the offensive coordinator has to tell you what you're doing. Like Tanner Engstrom is a rookie offensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn is a rookie head coach. They have a rookie general manager there. They've been down this road 1,000 different times, and it hasn't looked any different. What I've tried to tell Jet fans here in New York is that Dan Campbell was 4-19-1 after 24 games. That was a year and a half into his time there before they started to turn things around. And that second year, they got to 9-8. I don't know if Aaron Glenn is going to be able to do what they did in Detroit. I don't know if Darren Muji is going to be able to do what they did in Denver. All I can tell you is that that's the thing that I'm hanging my hat on, is that they've come from places where they've rebuilt these franchises, and those franchises are two of the best right now in the NFL. And hopefully that experience is going to pave the way for them, because right now it's about as ugly as you could possibly imagine for the Jet fan and the Jet coaching staff and the Jet organization.
It's so true. Back to, I'd like your perspective. I guess maybe I'm simplifying it. Like with that play, though, with the making decisions, you're saying this is a defensive-minded coach. That's not going to be a Sean Payton. Like, why not just throw up the Hail Mary? Because, like,
well, that's what
I guess
Garrett Wilson wants to know.
What's the risk? I guess I would ask you, like, what's the risk? Even if you don't want to leave the Broncos time, which, like, that's understandable. I guess, like, just do that. Why not throw up a Hail Mary?
Well, okay, that's the problem. So, when you're a head coach, you are responsible for a number of things. One of those things is managing the game. And nobody manages the game better than Sean Payton in today's world, or Andy Reid, or when Bill Belichick was standing on the sideline of the Patriots. Those guys all know how to handle the game. I think Matt LaFleur is great up in Green Bay. He knows how to handle the game. Liam Cohen down in Jacksonville, first-year head coach, handles the game most of the time pretty well. But, these are experiences a lot of these guys have never had, and certainly Aaron Glenn has never had this. He should have somebody in his ear talking to him about game management issues. And right now, it's a really, really bad look for him. It's a really bad look for Darren Muji. And I just don't know how much longer it's going to last. The other thing about this whole situation is that it really sends a bad message about the quarterback. Do you actually believe in the quarterback or don't you? And Justin Fields has been an erratic quarterback since he came out of Ohio State with the Chicago Bears. Why they gave him $30 million guaranteed when they didn't have to is beyond me. They could have had Mac Jones. They could have had Russell Wilson. They could have had anybody. But they brought him in here, and he has looked lost, except for game one against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he actually looked reasonably confident. But these last couple of games, I mean, he looks like he's lost out on the field, and that's another bad look on the part of the Jets front office.
-10 net passing yards. I drank more Guinnesses yesterday during this game than there were yards in the first 10 minutes. It was an insane stat that I thought that I was hearing wrong for most of the time. Are you sort of are you saying, how long can this go? Like this could be like a mid-season change?
I don't think it will be a mid-season change. It could, if it doesn't get any better, if they don't win, they got a couple games on their schedule now where they'll be equal with the teams they're playing. They have the Carolina Panthers coming to town next week. I will say this: if they get off to a bad start in that first half, Aaron Glenn's going to have to do something. He's going to have to go to Tyrod Taylor because the fan base is just going to be livid. They are out for blood right now. And if our radio show is any indication, it's about as ugly as it was when I was here back in 1996, or 95, I should say, which was brutal We won 3 games that year. The next year, they won 1 game when I left. And I was thinking to myself, man, I must have been a great football player because somehow I won 3 games with that mess.
Today's the day that I'd like to be a producer on your show. I'd like to be the person sifting through those calls. I just think it's such fun theater. I do feel bad, and I definitely empathize with this fan base. I don't know how much that really matters with these, the ownership. You can sort of speak to that maybe a little better than I can. But when it comes to this quarterback and what they do, do you bench him now? Are you going to get better by continuing to trot him out there? Maybe we have the schedule.
I think what should have happened is that they should have benched him yesterday at halftime, put Tyrod Taylor in the game for the second half. Aaron Glenn should have said after the game, no matter how the game ended up, that Justin Fields is my starter. He was having a rough go of it. I owe it to the rest of my team to give us a chance to try to win the football game. So I would have played Tyrod. And I'm a former quarterback who hates benching quarterbacks because I've been benched myself. And I know what that means to the team because all of a sudden now everybody has an excuse. They could all blame it on the quarterback. But yesterday, 9 sacks. 8 of those 9 sacks were because he was holding on to the ball. And here's a stat for you. Out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL that have played in an NFL game this season, nobody has more time to throw than Justin Fields, just over 3 seconds. So in this game and in this day and age, the ball has got to be out 2.5 or less seconds, unless, of course, you're making a secondary play.
That is a rough statistic.
Yes, it is.
I did not know that. That's rough. I was thinking let's Bryce Young him. It helped. It was a reset. You can't say it wasn't. Sometimes it can be helpful. Sometimes we have proof that it is. So I guess that's what, but then the schedule is very favorable. You're right. They are playing teams that they can box with.
They could, but you remember, Carolina had, Andy Dalton. So when you think of Andy Dalton taking stepping in for Bryce Young and giving him a breather, great. That's exactly what Tyrod Taylor should be for the Jets. If you see that he's having problems, you think he mentally locked up yesterday for some reason. I don't know why. Only they know why. But that was when Aaron Glenn, if they were going to win a game, it would have been yesterday had he changed the quarterback.
Well, see, I don't know why they didn't, but I also think the best points you have is, and this is nothing against Tanner, but given everything that you're saying, even not having an Andy Dalton there, it would have been nice to have an experienced OC in the building. It might have really changed what's going on here. Great point.
Yep. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's the other thing. Tanner, I don't know him personally. He comes from a nice long lineage of really good coaches, especially offensive coaches. He may be a little bit young, maybe be a little bit in over his head. And I think if the head coach is in over his head and he's not managing the game right and communicating to his offensive coordinator what he wants, then there you have communication problems in between the coaching staff, which is not good either. And I think that's part of the frustration of Garrett Wilson, who's been here way too long. He's way too good, and there's way too much losing going on. So he is obviously frustrated. And if he's frustrated, that means the other veterans on this team are extremely frustrated as well.
Yes. Why does it feel like there's a case to be made, and of course, this is being made across social media, that just the Jets are where you go to die as a quarterback? The Jets are where you go to be thrown into the elephant graveyard. And it doesn't help the situation that you're seeing Sam Darnold put on what the performances he's putting on, that you see the Geno Smith, like Aaron Rodgers, all of a sudden they're favored to win the division. They couldn't why is that? Is there anything to that? What is that?
It's a little bit of bad luck. I went through it myself. I had 3 coaches in 3 years with the Jets, and that's never a good thing. You want stability for all your football teams. I think the Giants are trying to hold on to Brian Daboll and Joe Shane just to try to be somewhat stable, and maybe they found their lucky needle in the haystack in Jackson Dart, because this kid has energized the entire franchise. And right now the Jets are dead because they don't have anybody quite like that. That's not Justin Fields' personality. So I just, for whatever reason, whether it be ownership or whether it be guys that are on this roster now that are just coming out of losing with a previous coaching staff, need to be jettisoned and traded and moved on from, which is, I think, is what Muji and Aaron Glenn, if they have the opportunity to do so, are probably going to do it. Under the current set of circumstances, if I'm the owner, I'm looking at this going, am I trusting these guys to make all these major changes? That's the next question that has to be answered here for the New York Jets.
Boomer or Buster? The Jets would be in a playoff hunt if they kept Aaron Rodgers. Boomer or Buster?
Boom. 100%
really?
Boom. But I know why they got rid of Aaron. You know, Aaron went on Pat McAfee and said, I've never been fired by a teenager before, meaning Brick Johnson, Woody Johnson's son. And he was playing off of the fact that, you know, there were decisions being made within the building because of Brick Johnson playing Madden. And that really annoyed the ownership here. So they bring in Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, and they say, you get rid of Aaron Rodgers. And when Aaron Rodgers found out that they were signing Justin Fields, he had to be like, what? So I think Aaron Rodgers landed on his feet in a much better place, a much more stable situation with Mike Tomlin there in Pittsburgh. But I would say, yes, they would be in the playoff hunt had they had Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback.